All right. Testing, everyone. Good day, good day, good day. And welcome to All for Success. I'm hoping that you guys can hear me clearly. Just FYI, as always, I'm trying to learn a little bit of something new, testing out a new mic, and we're going to see how that works. Um, it's so fun for me as I plug and play with different little pieces of equipment. I'm still a little new to this whole space, but I enjoy some of the things that I'm learning as I go along the way. It's really sometimes quite fun. So, with that being said, everybody, good Sunday morning. At least I hope it is where you are. We've got a little bit of overcast out here. It's a little bit chilly, not too cold, but a bit of gray skies. So, everyone, I hope where you are is excellent weather and not super cold, but I know they're getting heavy snow. I'm here in the U.S., and so they're getting tons of snow in the Northeast. And we're missing it right now, but I have a feeling it's on the way. Now, that being said, grab your coffee, folks. You know how we do. Get your coffee, sit down, listen to a few minutes of me blathering on about all kinds of irrelevant minutia, but it's always fun to come at the aspect of what's happening out there in the greater world. Sometimes you just need to kind of distract yourself from too many intense things before the work week gets going or to wrap up your work week. So that's what I like to do. Be reminded, those who are coming into the chat, that this is a Sussex friendly space. Why is that? Well, I see myself as a parent of adult children. And in seeing adult children trying to navigate their way through the world, I see Harry and Meghan in that way. I always laugh about the fact that my podcast, I could be Megan's mother. And so, from her point of view, that's where I'm coming from. And what that means is I support my kids in their endeavors in life. And I really despise people picking on my kids, right? So that's the frame of mind that I come from. And so that's the frame of mind that I speak in this chat. So I hope you are having a good day, and I hope you enjoy some of the things that we might just chat about or some of the topics I might hit on. And please, please, please like, share, and subscribe if you wish, but also leave comments in the chat, especially if you have some thoughts or ideas that might help me in my journey here on this wonderful channel. So get your coffee ready, sit back and relax if that's what you're going to be doing, and just listen in. And of course, for those of you who are getting ready to head out to Sunday school and church, you better get moving. Okay? Now, on the other side of that, we also encourage everyone who, especially if you are in my age range, again, I said parents of adult children, that means I'm not 10 years old, right? You need to get up, get out, and get moving, because I have found that the only thing that keeps us in flow is to get out, get up, and get moving. I unfortunately have to move myself even though I experience pain. Yes, I know. As we get a little bit of age on us, there are things that might hurt from time to time. A bone here, a backache there, and that's sometimes what I'm dealing with. So please be encouraged to get out and exercise and do some things that you might enjoy. So try to do that, okay? I love the fact that you can get up on your toes and move around. I see that you can get a little exercise in, and also let us know in the chat what kind of exercises you might be doing. Oh man, I see. I just want to note here. I see that Joyce Anderson mentions in the chat that some Baron is also having issues with his mic. Now, listen, Baron is a super podcaster. Okay, he is in the realm of extraordinary. I tell you what, I'm even upset that I'm here. I didn't mean to crisscross. I've got to be careful with my times, because there is no need for me to crisscross those, what I call super chats, okay? Because those guys are pros. I'm just learning how to course through this event. But hey, you know what? If he's having issues, then I know I'm in a little bit better company because he's a super chatter. I love it. So we're gonna try to get on what to say, get on the good foot with our technical stuff. So get up, get out, and exercise. Get yourself fit. I did do a little bit of a walk yesterday, about 2 miles. So you guys, if I can manage it, struggling along with back pain, you make sure you get out there and at least do a few neat D bends here and there, okay? Trust me, you'll be better for it. Okay, so here's what I am into today. So I'm still going through a couple of slides that I had before, but Harry had a wonderful appearance at what was called Book Deal. All right, where they were going to be chatting with authors that have written extraordinary works, and then people get to be introduced to them a little bit more, where they talk a little bit more about their own personal lives. And so that is what Harry was brought on stage to do. And one of the key things that he came away with, and I just wanted to reiterate this, is he came away with letting people know, whether you were paying very, very close attention or not, he let people know, yes, tabloids will always twist what he is saying and what he is about, that there will be some sort of shocking headline always attached to whatever he does, primarily with a negative slant, right? And then he mentioned, which was very intriguing, some of the things that people noted were listed as different rumors that are listed as truths in tabloid media. So where they might state, oh, they're about to get a divorce, they're about to break up, there's a problem in California, on and on and on, which will draw people in to click on those particular articles or to click on and follow those particular articles. And he made a note, which is something that we all need to definitely put this information out to other people, that you don't want to financially grow your opposition. And a lot of people, I know sometimes I'm reading things or looking at things that absolutely negative, absolutely untrue, but you feel like, oh, well, I need to know what they're saying. And that's true sometimes. But I try to be very careful about making sure I'm not on any feed or forum that will earn for someone else. And even though I would love to go on a feed or a forum and just type out my thoughts and let somebody have it, I really would. I am always very kind of thoughtful in that I'm not going to feed this person my thought process because it's actually growing their pocket, right? And so I'm a little careful of that. But I know that there are people out there that are like what we call warriors on the keyboard, and they're definitely letting them have it. But anyway, he mentioned that, and I zoned in on that particular part of his commentary. That specific notification that people will take whatever he says, no matter what it is, no matter how benign, it will become a quote or a framed headline, and then it will be twisted. So he basically said, I love being in the United States very much. I'm enjoying being here, right? Look at the quote here. And he said, it's a part of my life that I never thought I was going to live, right? And so he was then asked, as most people will always do, for him to project what his mother may think or feel had she still been with us, which I think is an almost cruel question. I understand people wanting to ask it, but it's a cruel question. Please pontificate on what you think a person who is deceased would think or do, right? That's very harsh to ask a child to do that. Yet, of course, everywhere he goes, that's a mindset he has to be stepping into. It's quite silly, but they do it all the time. So he had to navigate that question and figure out, well, should I answer that in the positive or the negative? And of course, he answers it in the positive, that he felt his mother would really love how his life has turned out, how his world has turned out. And without really knowing her myself, I agree. At least in the way that she carried herself in the world, I agree that she probably would have been pleased with how his life turned out and the fact that he's a very strong person. So that's one of those thoughts in this process. At least that's how I feel. So here's what's one of the big stories of the week, right? Netflix has now released or aired in their queue. You can watch the series that they're going to have starting called Polo. Now, it's going to be very hard to determine whether people would be drawn to it, whether they would see it more as a documentary. Sometimes documentaries don't really garner a lot of views because it's very, what I call less entertainment value and more informational value. And so sometimes people are not really interested in something that they see as a documentary. However, please be aware, right? What happens from the UK media perspective? Well, from their perspective, no matter what it is, every story is framed, no matter what endeavor that they participate in, it's pushed out to the public as a do or die, make or break, life or death, and that it's going to begin with the failure of. Now, this production hasn't even been on air for what, 2 to 3 days? And already there are articles talking about critics, whoever that is, are having problems with the series itself. They don't like it, or it's boring. No one's interested in it. It's just about rich people. All of that, right? And it's interesting because we don't know who these critics are. These articles are just written blindly with every negative connotation put in it. There's no discussion of actually the subject matter of the series, which indicates that the person talking about it hasn't seen it, right? Or if they have seen it, they haven't studied it. So here's what I'm going to give you my critic review and I haven't even finished it, but I want to give you my review. Kind of an uptick, right? I thought it was quite lovely, at least what I've seen so far. It's kind of done in the style of many reality type introductions of people and their lives around the sport. I don't want to give away any spoilers, right? But it is going to show it's in the feeling of, if you were a person who watched things like Housewives of or the Kardashians or things like that. It's going to give you somewhat of that feeling, but at the same time, it's going to introduce you to a subject matter that most people are completely unaware of. I had no idea, for a fact, that something as simple as the banding of the sleeves on the arms of the shirts is kind of necessary when playing polo. It would never occur to me. But anyway, that's just the type of thing that you notice and that is kind of discussed in the details of the sport and why people love it the way they do, especially people who like horses, horse races, and so on. So it's quite interesting. I think it has what do you call it? A likership, if you would say that word. I think that there will be people who will truly enjoy it, especially from the aspect of how the athletes deal with winning, losing, and everything in between, and then balancing the rest of their world while having such an, what I call, in-depth love of the sport. And that's with any person in any sport, right? But what I really find irritating about the UK and their need to sully and their need to destroy anything that has Meghan's name somewhat attached to it, they have to somehow jump out ahead and try to tell the world that it's awful, right? I mean, they're there on day one to imply that there is nothing of any value that has her name attached to it. And for that, I am truly agitated because I need for that to stop. I really do. And so they always throw in this connotation that their association with Netflix, this show is going to be so bad, it's going to make or break, their relationship. No one is going to want to work with her. Oh, working with her is so hard. And they've quoted someone as saying, and it's always someone said, or Netflix feels. They're just exhausted working with her. Things, and they make these statements in their articles, and it is truly what do you call it? Discomforting. And then you'll flip to another article, not by them, and the reports are the complete opposite, right? People are actually very positive about the work they do and enjoying the series itself. But that's their problem. They can't see the characters that are in this particular series. Now, I know I know some of the folks are super fans of Nacho, right? People love him. And watching him play polo, ladies, you need to calm down. Okay, you're going to have to drink some water and calm it down. And there are some very interesting people who are also in the shows, extraordinary characters. And yes, a lot of them are quite handsome. So again, I'm going to need you ladies to calm it down. Okay, but I think that the attractiveness of the sports is also interesting, and the level of wealth that of the people who are participating. It's also interesting. So I hope that we all get a chance to enjoy it and watch it and laugh at what we see. It's going to be great. So while I'm on that, let's see who's here and let's see what folks are saying about it in the chat. I'm going to say good morning to you guys too. So good morning. Oh, Joyce Anderson, good morning. Thank you so much for being here in the chat. I appreciate it. And she says, I have watched Polo documentary 6 times already. Are you kidding me? I love it. I am committed to watching it each day. Okay, well, all right, I'm right behind you. I'm not that far in, but I'm liking what I see as well. But you know what? You sound like a diehard fan. Also, good morning. Lorna Williams is talking to Joyce. Okay, she says she had it on replay last night. See, here's another Nacho fan. She said Nacho asked us to rate it on IMDb. Apparently, trolls are trying to give it negative ratings. As always, they are ahead. You know what? Evil wakes up ahead of you no matter what. They try to get up there ahead of you. And so even the Guardian review was negative, even though the guy only watched 1 episode and he is named. Okay. So we got to keep an eye out for that. Exactly. They're not even watching the show for its content. In other words, they probably do not know what the characters or the content, the personnel are going to be talking about in the content, but they have no problem. This is the demonicness, and I know that's a free word, of their attitude. They do not care in the process of trying to demean Meghan. They have no problem running everyone along the coals and raking everyone else through the soil without paying attention to the actual storyline captured by these people who are talking about this sport. Right? There are actual storylines that you're following. There's the couple and how they are going to deal with some of the things, the demands of the sport over the demands of their real lives. And that is what the subject matter is supposed to be capturing. But you can't get to that because the commentary is, oh, it's awful. It's just awful. right? And that is the problem. So I am hoping that people, like you said, we do have to take that extra time and give decent reviews. We have to pay attention and try to stamp out that negative influence that jumps in ahead of us. And that's because they're paid to do that. There's an entire fleet of people that their job is to trail along behind Megan and create destruction. That is what they are employed to do. Now, I mean, think about that, right? This is an industry. So I appreciate that. And we have to definitely stay on our toes to stay ahead of it. Matter of fact, I'm going to do some positive reviews today. Huh. So there. So in the meantime, what is Megan finding? Well, like anyone, and this is part of women growing up, right? It's a part of women hitting that age. And I always say that age as you move on through that middle age range. You realize, you know what? You generally have to be your own support. It's not that you won't work with other people, and it's not that you don't depend on other people to help you see your vision through. And not to be afraid of the fact that your vision continuously changes. And the wonderful thing about parenthood is it will sharpen your focus and direct it, of course, towards your children, which you have to be very broad-minded. Women, when you have young children, like I think about when my kids were little, your attention is going to go to the things and the needs that they have. The problem is, in many households, a lot of women feel that that means that they have to disappear, that they have to then stop dreaming and to stop wanting things for themselves. I'm here to tell you that is absolutely not true. But what it will mean is that there you may have to develop a method of operation. It does mean that some things will have to be put on a waiting status. They may have to be put on pause. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It doesn't mean you can't achieve it. It doesn't mean you cannot pursue it. It simply may mean that it may take more time. It may mean that you might have to augment it to include your family, right? And then in some cases, and this is also a possibility, that if you feel completely driven to pursue a specific thing, that in reality, you may have to explain your sacrifice to your family. Now that's hard. That's a tough one. But often that is the case. But I don't want young moms to feel as if, oh, everything in my life is now over. That's absolutely not the case. I like for you to instead look at things from the point of view of this perhaps is your time to prep for that thing you want to pursue, especially when you have young children, because your attention is going to be on their needs. So stay focused on that, but your time, whether it's an hour a day for you or 2 hours a day for you, that's your time to prep. But your execution may take more time. So there's nothing wrong with being patient and sticking with it because things can happen. So Megan, of course, they were talking about the fact that instead of her actually selecting a CEO for her production of ARO, which was American Riviera, or whatever that business endeavor might become, right? Because it could become the jellies and the jams and the foodstuffs, or it could become the styles and the what I would call beautiful ideas and the tablecloths and the settings and the beautiful parties that you put on. So she's going to perhaps head that up herself. So that's a little bit different. That's a little bit different endeavor, right? It's a little bit more intense if you are going to be the visionary and the CEO. And then, of course, she was caught out while she was visiting a wonderful friend and celebrating a baby shower. And so the ladies were all in this beautiful pink. So I am going to assume that this baby shower was announcing the coming of a young girl. That is what I'm thinking, because they're all wearing that beautiful soft pink. That's my thoughts. But, they looked lovely. She looked like she's doing great. And that is what I love to see, for her to continue moving forward in her life, no matter how much these naysayers are screaming in the background, which we will ignore. So, of course, we all know Harry and the Sussex family, they're global, and they're going to stay global no matter what. No matter what events are had across the water, no matter what is going on in their world, we really don't care. And I think they find that unbelievable. And the naysayers can only spend their time doing what? Talking about Harry and Meghan. Otherwise, no one's paying attention to anything that they are doing. Why? Because it's actually insignificant to the people of the UK. That is the most important piece of information. Now, let me flip over, and I told you guys I wasn't going to stay here long. So let's flip over really, really quick. And before I chat about who you see on screen, let's take a moment once again. Guys, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for supporting me. And as I learn more, I tell you, I promise I'm going to do better. Here we have our wonderful, I know, all of you, Miss Kinsey. So Miss Kinsey had a rough time this week because she was being picked on, people. Okay? People were saying mean things about her online. Aw. Okay, now, this couldn't have happened to a better person. Now, could it? She was on screen and she had on her glasses, evidently. And so she did her show wearing these glasses. Me, personally, I'm looking at that. I don't see anything truly significant. And I definitely don't see anything truly interesting. But for some reason, she received negative commentary about how she looked with her glasses on. And people in the chat, in her chat, were very vicious and degrading, right? Which have we seen her be that way to our family, Sussex folks? Have you ever seen little Miss Kinsey saying negative things about the Sussex family? I believe we have. After all, that is her job, correct? But yet here she was coming online to push out all of this sadness. Woe is me. I'm being picked on in my chat. But I don't care because you people are mean. And she explains that what she had to do was have something truly significant worked on with her eyesight and her vision. Even if you feel some sort of what I would call sympathy for the specific condition that she may have, I am equally unresolved by her behavior towards Meghan and Harry in relationship to how she is being treated right now. And let's go back now to this big world view. For some unknown reason in our world, in our existence, people cannot seem to put together who they are as an individual, how they behave as a singular human being, whether they are nice or whether they are cruel. For some unknown reason, humanity cannot seem to put they can't draw the connection from I'm an individual and I am as cruel as I can be. And they can't seem to connect that to the greater world also exhibiting cruelty. I find it fascinating. And I think one day we should do a study on this behavior and this phenomena. That you, as an individual, for some reason, you can't connect the dots. That however you are, however cruel, however debauched, however whatever you are, you can't seem to connect it to the greater universe exhibiting the same type of symptoms. And that is exactly where she landed. Here she is, teary eyed and sniffling over the cruelty that she has been subjected to. But she couldn't draw an arrow to what is your job? Your job is to denigrate Meghan and Harry. But she can't draw that connection. But I think she will begin to if she's lucky. If she is lucky, right? So even though you may be cautiously sympathetic to anyone dealing with any type of physical impairment or mental impairment, and many people are, while you're trying to regulate that in your mind, at the same time, you can't express anything outside of, well, sometimes people get what they deserve, right? And the cruelty that you dish out is very likely what you're going to pick up. All right. Okay. So I promised I wasn't going to be long, and I promised you I said that I wasn't. So here's what I wanted to do. We're going to do more. I'm going to try. I always promise this. I'm going to do more, but we'll see what happens. But I just want to give you the reminder. Okay, everybody, get yourselves and your minds ready and fixed up for the Invictus Games coming up in the winter. We need to do that. And so I always throw that advertisement out. I can't wait to see how they put this together. It's going to be excited. And of course, we must be reminded that Harry has his Invictus Ready tattoo. Jelly Roll will be performing. I know I've mentioned that before, so don't forget that. That's going to be fun to see. I know I cannot wait. Now, before I wrap up here, let me see who else is in here. If there are any comments that I missed, let's see. I love it. Lorna Williams, thank you so much. I love it that she drops a comment for me. Come on, guys, you can put in comments as well. So Lorna Williams says, BS. Kenzie just caught on to the fact that certain members of the squad call her crazy eyes and bug eye. And she used that moment to launch her theatrical performance. You know what? I wouldn't doubt it. I am sure that she thought, well, here's my chance. But I tell you what, I'm not interested in her groveling and wobbling. I'm just not interested. And I don't think many people are. You can't be that cruel to someone. She's cruel to Harry and Meghan for no reason, right? For her job. And her job is only to uphold the UK perspective of everything Harry and Meghan does is bad. And then yet at the same time, we're supposed to look at her and think, oh yeah, she's so sad. And then Lorna continues with, Kenzie needs to explain her connection to Diddy Combs. Her explanation was weak. Oh, well now I didn't know about that. Okay. So you're going to make me have to go back and do some more research, aren't you? So I'm going to, okay, this is it. I promise. I told you I wasn't going to be loud. Look, this whole, I did a little bit of a commentary about what I was hearing in the YouTube streets in reference to Diddy and his escapades and how they are tying in, Jay-Z, Beyonce, you name the character, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey. What they've done is they've hit every single icon of a particular entertainment, excuse me, I got hiccups, of a particular entertainment and culture. Now, I might do another quick chat, but I want to talk about how countries over 500 plus years would infiltrate indigenous peoples by destroying their icons, right? Now, that sounds metaphorical in the Diddy case, in the in what's happening here. It sounds kind of like a metaphor, but in a way it isn't. If it, and I'm going to kind of draw that parallel because now I don't know if Kinsey, she probably would have been definitely among any group of people that thought being associated with someone in that level of entertainment, that it would be good for her, right? Because this is what's happened to many of the people who were in and around and associated with that music industry at that level. You would believe that if I get to know these people, if they get to know me, then I'm going to become famous and be as plugged in as you are. Because everyone always feels that there's another door that they can go through, another party they could get in, and another network they could connect to. People who are social climbers, or what did you say, trying to curry favor, and let's face it, people who are trying to be in and around the royal family, right? Like your gentlemen who are seeking those knighthoods. They want to be in the in crowd, right? They believe that when they get in, that they have achieved something on the inside. And what they're going to probably be found with is that no matter how in they get, they're going to feel as if they're putting in, but they're not getting anything out of it. That's probably what's going to happen. But that is no doubt her MO. I mean, without a doubt, she would be that type of person. And so Lorna said that Kinsey worked for Diddy back in the day, and she admitted it. And there is video out there of her at a Diddy event. Interesting. And that might be the reason why she has what she thinks is the reach that she has. Right? And so many of these folks, they wanted to be plugged in. And likewise, just like her personality might have been there working for him and being in and around him, let's face it. Many people who work in these arenas and in these areas, especially these folks who are cross-continental, they also work for the opposition. And you never know if these people are also the reason for your downfall. Because in some circumstances, they cannot be trusted. I mean, listen to her. There is nothing about her that sounds like a trustworthy confidant in any realm. But hey, that's another topic, and we'll get to that. We will get on that. But yeah, a lot of these people, they play both sides of the equation, and they're all looking for the next payout, right? So just imagine if there was an element that drops a bag of change in your lap in exchange for you telling them something that they could use, for example, against Diddy. And that may in fact be reasons. In other words, it's a lot going on in that realm, in that story. And I have been kind of paying attention to what has been recent, which is, I'm in the YouTube streets. So I had heard the YouTube streets with the Blue Couch and Jaguar Wright, and she's been talking about these things for years. But the thing that's coming up now is actually how much of it is real story, how much of it may be embellished, how much of it may be actual outright lies. We don't know. But the stories that these people have been telling are quite intriguing, and they bring in a lot of people. So, guys, stand by. Maybe I'll do a live about the YouTube streets and the Sean Diddy, all of the people that he is touching. But right now, what it looks like, if I were drawing a metaphorical analysis, what it looks like is the bringing down of icons in a particular culture. All right. So let's keep our eyes on that. Yes? Yes. All right. Let's go. All right. Moving on, folks. Moving on. Because I know you got to get to Sunday school, church, or whatever it is you're going to be doing next. Okay, people? So, of course, I always like to end and wrap up with a Bible verse. I tell you guys, I'm not trying to draw you into any kind of cult, nor am I trying to bring you any type of religious awakening. I just like to read the Bible verses because I find them interesting. I love reading the Bible. I love reading mythologies. I love all that kind of that type of reading. And I also look at things kind of academically. At the same time, what? I came up in the church. What could I do? So listen, I want to take you here today to 1 Corinthians 12:4 and 7. Now, here's what we're going to have. The reason that I was doing this is it just came to my mind as Megan is trying to move through these challenges and the type of things that she's doing. I want to remind everyone that there are different gifts, but the same Spirit. There are different ministries, but the same Lord. And there are different activities, but the same God who activates everyone directly. Right? So to each is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. And this was to be celebrating women's unique gifts and contributions to the community. And I thought that that was very appropriate to always remember different people have different talents. Different things are going on at all times, different events. But if we have the objective for them to all work together for good, that is what we want to do for our community, right? And then I always leave you all with, and I might be putting this on every slide, is that away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. Now you read Matthew because that's a more telling story, but it's important to know that you too can say away from me when something negative is about to try to come into your space. Okay? So keep that in mind and remember you're gifted and all of our gifts work together for good. So what am I going to do for you all? I'm going to give you all a crowd applause. Thank you all for being here. All right. Now, with that sound, you know what we got to do, people. Get out there and exercise and do your thing. Yes, because that's what you need to do. Get fit. That's right. Stay focused. Stay positive. Indeed. And keep winning.